Hey everyone, Tina Hogan Grant here with my Cuppa A Natter that I like to do twice a month on a Monday. I like to bring authors into my home and we talk about books, life as an author, what we're working on. And today I am joined with Marcus Herzberg from Ohio. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so happy to have you join us. I'm really excited to talk about your book. But before we get started with that, can you just give us a little background on where you're from, if you do anything else other than writing, and just a little background to Marcus before we get talking about your book?
Sure, happy to. I don't do anything else. This is it. No, I I'm from Central Ohio originally, and I've been an educator my entire career. So I taught high school English for 5 years, and the plan was, of course, teach, and then you have nights and weekends off to write, and that never happened. If you want to be a good teacher, that usually never happens.
Never happens, huh?
So I did that for 5 years, and then I've been a teacher educator for about 25 years. So my full-time job, the one that actually pays, is that I teach.
I hear you.
I'm a teacher educator at the Marion Campus of the Ohio State University. So I teach teachers there, and we have a great group of students, and everybody there is great. So I've been there for probably 11 or 12 years, I think.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
And I saw also you teach English. Do you still do that too?
I taught English in high school, and then I taught writing courses, and I still teach a writing course. It's educational writing, but I throw in some different things. We do memoir, and we talk about a lot of stylistic things with writing. So I enjoy that a lot. I think my students know that I enjoy that. I try to give them tips and hints from my own trials and tribulations with writing. So I think they respect that.
Wow. And you've always loved to write, obviously.
I have, yeah. I mean, ever since I was a kid, just little things. Like I always would make poems and things for my parents and birthday cards, and I'd write little stories and things like that. And I suppose there was a long stretch in my life. There have been long stretches in my life when I have kind of let that fall to the side. And really glad that several years back, maybe a decade or so back, I decided that I lost too much time and wanted to write as much as I could, and that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, and your book, now the title, the Pop Top Insurrection. I'm going to ask you about that title in a little bit because it's an unusual title, very different.
Yes.
This book came out when?
Well, it was supposed to come out at the end of 2020, but of course, 2020 being what 2020 was, it didn't actually make it to press until 2021. So early 2021, like February, March of 2021.
Okay, and this is your debut novel?
No, it is. Well, the first one I've gotten published. I wrote a novel. It was not this is humor, satire. It's a new adult kind of age range. My first novel was called Everything Counts, and it was in the top 10 in the Ohio Writers Association novel competition. Didn't win. I'm always the bridesmaid. But it was much more serious, and I think what's the term you like to use? Sizzling. Yeah, it was perhaps too sizzling for me. I probably shouldn't have sizzled as much as I did. It was overdone. And so I actually went back and I've revised that recently, and so I'm going to start. Well, I continue looking for a publisher for that. But this is the first novel I've gotten published, the Pop Top Insurrection.
Well, congratulations! Let's see the cover. Pop Top. Okay.
Yeah.
Pop Top Insurrection.
And my cover artist Leela Henge is fantastic. She's out in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and she's one of the best people in the world. So I love working with her.
Now you say that this is kind of on the comedy side, satire.
Yeah, it's humor, satire. It's focused on kind of the new adult age range. So just kind of graduating from high school, getting into 18, 19, 20 years old, college age, or kind of looking for your direction right after your.
I can see you right. With being a teacher with high school kids, it's appropriate that you would write this. That makes a lot of sense. Well, anything in the book based on your students?
Yes. I mean, some of it, their frustrations about, because, new adulthood, that kind of that age range, it's this extended period of adolescence where you have certain responsibilities, like adult responsibilities, but you don't oftentimes yet have the tools to kind of get what you want done. And so that's very frustrating. And then society sees you in kind of this childlike way, and that they want to be paternalistic, especially colleges want to be paternalistic towards young adults. And I remember that period well. And I'm still very immature, so it was kind of easy for me to tap into that when I was writing the novel.
And is this a standalone? Is this a standalone?
No. Thank you for asking. I have actually just finished a sequel.
Oh, congratulations.
I still have, I finished the writing part, that I'm in editing, and I'm still working on cover art and things like that. But my concept that I had for this, the first one that I wrote, Everything Counts, that was a standalone. But this, my concept was like Catcher in the Rye meets Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, so there is some edgy, kind of serious satire about society and some of the things that we maybe should be looking at. But then some of it is just humor, and then there's also this serial nature of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So yeah, I've finished the second one, which is tentatively titled Jock Sniff America, and I will hopefully get that to press sometime late summer, early fall. That's what I'm hoping.
Wow, so you're looking at maybe end of the year publication or early next year?
Possibly sooner.
And do you think there'll be more in this? Do you think there'll be another one to continue on with the series?
I know there will be. You've already
got it figured out?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know my concept is that there are certain ideas that kind of permeate the whole series. I like to poke fun at conventional ways of thinking. I like to be iconoclastic. I mean, that's what satire is, right? I mean, so you make fun of kind of conventional ways of thinking that seem that everybody accepts and that seem kind of silly, right? So that's part of it. But part of it deals with kind of young adults, as I said. But then each book will have a different kind of major theme. So like with the Pop Top Insurrection, a lot of it was college. I poked a lot of fun at that, and just kind of that type of thing. With Jock Sniff America, it's going to be kind of our obsession with all things sport. I'm not anti-athletics or sports or anything like that, but I think sometimes we go kind of overboard with that. My plan is to have a book like on politics. That's easy. Who can make fun of politics? I mean, wow, no material there at all, right? So that will be the third book, and then I'll have to kind of see where I want to go after that. But I had that as a plan kind of early on, that I wanted to do it. And I know that you've written a trilogy, and I think that readers want that now. I mean, I just think that's part of the market that we're in.
To me, it wasn't planned when I wrote my first book. It wasn't planned, but after I'd written it, I knew I had more to say. And it's the same in my other series, which is now up to 6 books. The 6th book comes out in, July. But I wasn't planning on writing a series. It's just the way it turned out. And I like it because I get to know the characters better, and I get, more of a story. But this Sabella series needs to end.
Yeah. I found that with the first book I wrote, that it's like you said, you create these characters and you have this, you feel this, they're your friends, right? Because maybe I need more friends perhaps, but you're kind of sitting alone in this chair, right? And you're just kind of, and you're trying to create this. Well, I froze there. Trying to create this world and in these characters, and I'm a big believer that character drives plot. So I get very close to my characters and try to get into their heads and what would they do. And then the story ends, and I actually tried to write a sequel to the novel that I wrote that's a standalone, and it didn't go anywhere. And so, after I got 10 or 15,000 words into it, and thought, time to move on.
Yeah, for me, when I talk about my characters, I talk like they are real people. To me, they are real people that even though I created them, when I talk to other people about them, like Jill or Slade, the people in my books, I talk like they are my friends, that I don't know what they're going to be doing next, but they're going to let me know.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll let me know, otherwise there'll be no book.
Well, I think it's good that you listen to your heart on that. Because like you said, I just had more to say. And I think that as an author, that's very important, that you always have to tap into that. What do you have to say? And if you have more to say through the characters that you've created, then I say go for it.
Yeah, exactly. Great advice. And so I'm assuming when you've written your book, like the one that's published now, you didn't have a plot. You just sat down and began writing. You didn't plan it out.
The Pop Top Insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Available through my website. No. So Amazon. No. Okay. Anyway. I actually, well, initially I did. What happened was the very thing that happened to Magnus happened to me, and I'll read that at some point. You want me to? But it was kind of a humorous thing. But then it made me think, and I was at a time in my life when I kind of needed. I'd already written the serious novel, and that was hard. Like I'm not. I don't know whether I'm not built for that, or didn't have my sea legs, or I'm trying to tap into your past. Didn't have my sea legs, and I wasn't kind of prepared for like how that just kind of wore on me. And so I kind of needed a laugh, and then from that I developed the idea to create a series. And also I have two sons, a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, and that's what they like. I mean, they like to find books with characters that they like and relate to. And so I said, well, then I need to do that. I need to find, because those people at some point are going to be in my market. Right. And I think many people, just if you look at the phenomenon of like binge watching on television and everyone wants to look for a series, it's kind of where we are. I think people want to find something that they're attracted to, and more of it. And so that's why I thought that might be a good, but I like the concept. I try to laugh at myself a lot.
I think that's good. That's good. That's good, healthy advice. We all have to laugh at ourselves. We do.
Yeah. And that's helped, me get through like a lot of things in my career. And so, my satire, while I definitely poke fun at things, I'm also poking fun at myself. My protagonist's name is Magnus Haycock. If you'll notice, we have the same initials.
Oh, okay, yes.
Totally coincidental. I don't know how that happened. I'm not like that character, but he certainly has some of my idiosyncrasies and faults. So and part of the series is that I want him to grow. All right. So he's childish and crude and insensitive and everything in the first novel. And there's less. I've consciously made that choice as I'm writing the second novel to help him mature. And some of that is with age, but some of that's with experience and pain.
That's the thing about series. You can see that development if you write a series. You can see the transition going from a child to a teenager to an adult if you write the series that long. And for me, I love, getting to know my characters much more better and deeper through a series. I myself, and I said it many times, don't think I can write a standalone book because I always want to know more when I get to the end. What I think is the end of the book, obviously it's not because I keep writing more. But I just enjoy getting to know my characters so much more. And, the traits, the faults, whatever they want to tell me.
Right. And I think it's like life too. Life involves all these different challenges and changes and things like that. And I think that's kind of our lived experience. And so we want to create, I want to create characters that are, they're fanciful, sure, but I think they're realistic in that sense that
people can relate to.
I'm sorry, what?
And that people can relate to.
Right. I think that really helps the reader relate to the character. If the character has doubts and insecurities and trials and tribulations and makes mistakes, for goodness sake, and has some real flaws. That's
no one's perfect. I'd love to find that perfect person, but we all have our flaws. We all have our faults. Make it feel in the book too. I do want to pause for just a minute and say hello to a few of our guests. We've got a lot of people joining us. I'm here this evening with Marcus Herzberg from Ohio. Let's see your cover one more time, Marcus.
Yes.
And he wrote the book. It's the first book in the series. the Pop Top Insurrection. I'm going to pause for a minute and just say hello to a few of you lovely people. We've got Karen Wright is joining us, Karen Healy, Darlene Johnson, Laurie Chasco, Elaine Sapp. Karen Wright says, do I put it up here? I wanted to be a teacher when I was younger.
You made the right choice.
Not to be one? How have I had the patience?
I'm kidding.
I don't know if I could have the patience. Luann Fox is here. She's my dear friend for 30 years.
Oh,
I think it's 30 years. Vicky Fassetti. We have another comment here from Karen. I was teaching for 15 years in regular and special education. Now I work at a local university in the student accounting department. Okay. If you have any questions for Marcus, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I will try and get to as many as I can. Here's one from Elaine. I'm going to pop this up because I'm scrolling down. She's asking, do you pick your covers?
Yes.
You have a lot of say in your covers, the design, everything?
I have a lot of control. And I'm one of the luckiest people, I think, as far as that goes. I moved into a neighborhood maybe 5 years ago and live around the corner from a wonderful children's author named Alan St. Jean. And he has his own press, basically, Orange Village. And we've chatted. We chatted a lot. He's a fantastic author, but he's a fantastic mentor to me as well. And we were chatting, and I showed him my first novel, the one I said that was a little sizzling too much, and he's like, no, like I write children's books, like I can't publish. He's like, you seem like a nice guy, but no. And so then the second one, I guess, was just enough, because he writes children's books, but also adolescent, young adult. And so this was kind of like the next step. So and then he knows just a number of really fantastic people who have been who are in the publishing industry. And then I said, like, Leela Henge is, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, but we've spoken many times. But she created the cover art, and we kind of went back and forth on it. And she's going to do the cover art for my second novel. She's probably going to do the cover art for all my novels.
So tell us about the title, the Pop Top Insurrection.
The Pop Top Insurrection basically came out of just a night that I had where I was up grading papers and I needed a snack, and I had a new toaster, and the toaster destroyed my Pop-Tart, just shredded it, it impaled it, it burned it, and it really pissed me off because it was like my last blueberry Pop-Tart, and it was really I had this craving, right? And so I started to just what the hell's wrong with the world? Sorry, I hope you're at least.
No, that's fine.
Well, you never know. What's wrong with the world? We can't even kind of make either. I mean, it was kind of the both. We can't make toasters that are decent, that don't shred your pastries, but also pastries that are a little more durable, that can survive the pop up on the toaster. So, and then I just kind of imagined that would be something that I would have gotten upset at as a student. And as I relate a lot to my students who are many of them are that age, not all of them. And so that's where it came from. And then Insurrection, I know Insurrection's been in the news a little bit. My title was decided on way before that. Okay. And my book came out way before any of that. So this is no political statement or anything like that. I was trying to come up with a different, Star Wars had come out again, and there was Rebels and Rebellion. I'm like, I don't want that. I need to come up with something a little, Revolution. No, that's too big. So that's why Insurrection. Yeah.
Okay. Your incident with your Pop-Tart, your last Pop-Tart, is this what inspired the book?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that little incident of you burning and shredding your Pop-Tart?
Yeah. It was, well, and I thought that it relates well to that particular age, because I'm sure that young people think, because I listen to them and I read their writing a lot through my courses. It's kind of the adults are kind of screwing everything up. These people who are supposed to have all this experience, how things work, they're really messing up the show. And so I imagine myself as kind of this 18-year-old thinking, the same thing. That's what it is. And why can't, and that comes out in the novel, Pop-Tarts have been around 40, 50 years, toasters, I don't know, 100, I don't know how long, but we haven't found a way to mesh those in such a way that they don't ruin your night. So that's kind of where it came from.
I can see just from chatting with you, you're a very funny guy. I mean, you're making me laugh.
I've always liked you, Sina.
Huh?
I've always liked you.
But I can see how your book is going to be really entertaining just from the perspective of what you're telling me about it and how kids think and students think. I mean, I can see that nowadays with what's going on in our crazy world, this book would be a good escape just to have a good laugh. It's the kind of feeling that I'm getting. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I was at the point in my life, and also when it came out in early 2021, and I was like, wow, I think a lot of us really need to laugh after kind of what we've dealt with, and because my mother passed at the end of 2020 and everything, and I was kind of dealing with some of that, and I was glad to have an outlet to do that. And so, yeah, the books to laugh at. And Karen asked a very good question, kind of like, what is the age group? I mean, I'm hoping that it's multi-generational. Of course, everybody does, right? Oh, everyone should love my book. But I think that it's interesting for younger people, right? So for people that age, 18, 19, 20, 21. So that's why I say it's new adult. But then also anyone who's been through that experience, and then also parents of young people who are kind of right in that age. I'm hoping that they see humor in that. So that's kind of where I'm trying to target.
Have any of your students at the high schools read the book?
Well, I mean, I currently just teach it in college. I think a couple of them have ordered it. What is funny is, I mean, I taught high school English, 20 years ago. But many of my students, after we, disconnected for years, have bought the book and have contacted me about how they thought it was funny. And I definitely, because I taught both at a kind of a small town, public high school, and then I taught at my alma mater, which is an all boys Catholic preparatory school, which at times isn't very fun. And so I tried to give those young men the best years of my life, and I tried to, kind of make it fun for them, and they think so. But I have had some of my college students, and recent graduates who have purchased the book, and that makes me feel good. And they said they liked it.
Yeah, and they liked it too. That's great.
Now my sons can't read it yet. Because
well, a few more years they will be, and
my 10-year-old wants to read it, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think we'll wait.
Yeah, they can wait. They can wait. Hopefully, they'll be your biggest fans too. I want to say hello to a few more people. Virgie Lane is here. I think I said hello to Vicky. Crystal is here. She's my editor. She's here. Hi, Crystal. She's got my latest book. Karen says she loves the cover. Barbara Miller is here. She's from NE. That's Nebraska, right? Is that Nebraska?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, she's in Northeast Florida. From Northeast.
Who is?
Yeah. Barbara says she's from Northeast Florida.
Oh, no, I thought I said Nebraska, but it's Northeast Florida. Thank you very much. And Karen is asking, what inspired you to write?
Like overall, or just the novel?
Overall.
I would say, I mean, as a kid, like I said, and Tina, you asked me about this, it was something that I always enjoyed. So I think you had to try different things. I think everybody had to try different things in their life and see if they liked them. And I did. It was a creative outlet for me. I think it helps me figure things out about my life and things that I experience. I think that being understood is kind of a human desire, and I think that writing allows me to express that. And then it's kind of a cheap hobby. Until you try to publish something, it's a cheap hobby.
Then it gets expensive.
After that, it can get expensive, but just the writing part of it's cheap.
Yeah,
So.
and I love what you said. It's a great escape. It is, and it's a great way to understand yourself with your writing. Because I think no matter what we write, we put a little bit of ourselves into every book we write. There's something of us in every book we write. And with you saying that, it helps you to understand you better. I agree with you. I do. I do want to take a little break. We have a double treat for our readers tonight. I'm going to read the description of your book from Amazon, and then you're going to give us a little treat and read a couple of paragraphs from your book. How exciting. So let me do that. I'm going to read the description first. The Pop Top Insurrection. I have it right here on my phone. I have it ready. Okay, here we go. When his new toaster shreds his Pop-Top, Magnus Haycock has had enough with humankind's incompetence and decides to take over the world. But first he has to graduate from high school. Magnus employs his razor-sharp wit to narrate his quest, along the way ranting about everything from the creepiness of mother-son dances to the dishonesty of no-stir peanut butter. Magnus is forced to accept a scholarship to a snooty liberal arts college, where he suffers through boring classes and a dull social life. After failing an emotional disability, Magnus convinces the college to grant him a very unconventional comfort animal. An altercation with an upperclassman requires Magnus to defend himself before the Student Life Committee, with a little help from his absentee father. Will Magnus' transgressions derail his plans for world domination, or will this spark a revolution? Even the blurb is funny.
Thank you.
I like it. Did you write that too?
Yes.
You did? I like it. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
So, Alan helped me with that. Alan Sagine helped me with that. So yeah.
Okay. All right. And I'll let you give us a little taste of your book. It's all yours.
The first chapter is titled "Off and Walking" because he doesn't yet own a car.
Okay.
But, after considerable deliberation, I decided to take over the world. I was simply fed up with humanity, its pettiness, its ignorance, and most of all, its incompetence. At the tender age of 18, I'd seen enough to understand why God had decided to charter Noah's Yacht Club. My decision was catalyzed by an episode involving a Bravo model KT3127 toaster, which my mother purchased at Target after our former toaster, which I dubbed the incinerator, finally bit the dust. For 8 long years, I'd been forced to cook everything, even frozen bagels, on the lowest setting, then hit the cancel button halfway through the cycle. If I waited too long, I either dined on the charred remains or pitched them and started over. So it goes without saying that my expectations for the new toaster were not unreasonably high. My mom noted that it was cute with its retro 1950s design, and based on some practice runs with an English muffin, its heat setting seemed properly calibrated. But everything fell apart a couple of nights later when I was studying for the last high school physics quiz I would ever take. After half an hour of going over concepts and formulas, I grew hungry and decided on a blueberry Pop-Tart for a snack.
I like that. Very nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, in the description, yeah, I mean, he does the mother-son dance. He calls that the incest cotillion. He's like, I'm not going to that. That's silly. And he doesn't like where he grows up in kind of this upper middle class neighborhood. And he says that he thinks the mascot for the high school should have been a mirror. Because everybody just wants to look at themselves and think they're
right. Very, I like it. I do like it. I got some comments there after you read. Oh my gosh, I need to read this book. And she looks like she's probably watching this from my private group because I can't see her name. But she enjoyed it. Okay. Karen says, awesome. And then we have Terry says, this sounds like my grandson. And then we have Peggy says, sounds like a fun read. And then we have another one probably watching it from the group. Oh my gosh, I need to read this book. And Karen says, loved it. It's very entertaining. She says, sounds awesome. And then one more, love your dry sense of humor from Katie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for reading to us. I really appreciate it.
Oh.
You said that you write.
I'll be here all week, right? So, I mean, if anybody wants me to.
Oh, there you go. Come on in the group and read some more. I love listening to authors read their own work. I do it as often as I can, and I get a lot of feedback from my readers that say they love it when an author reads their own work.
What does it do for you when you read your own work?
When I read my own work?
Yeah.
For me, it just gives me a connection to my readers. They're not just looking and reading my book and seeing my name on the book. What I'm hoping is when they pick up my book and start reading it, they hear my voice. And even though I just read, like you, a few chapters, as they continue reading, they're hearing my voice read that book to them. And I just like the personal connection. So whenever I do a live, not on this show, but on other places, I always try and do a live read too. It's just that personal connection with readers. And like I said, it's more than just a name on a book. When they pick up a book and say, "Oh, this is Tina Hogan Grant," but if they heard me read, that connection is there as a reading, and hopefully they hear my voice and the accent.
Yeah. Well, it's a great accent, so why not, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, Magnus actually is British as well. He was born he was born in London. I know you were from there, but
yeah, I'm from northern England, Yorkshire. About 200 miles north, yeah. And I need to go back. I get homesick, so I need to go back.
It's been a long time. Do you go back often? Or?
Not often enough. The last time was 2011. So what? We're now another 12 years away. So I need to get back there. But my sister comes out almost every year. So it's like, why do I need to go back? She can pay the pay.
She brings the UK to you.
Yeah, she brings the UK to me. And by the time she leaves, she's here for a month. She'll be here in September. And by the time she leaves, I'm talking like her.
Yes.
That British accent.
Yeah.
My poor husband, he's like, what did you say? But back to your book. Oh, my sister-in-law is here. There's Pam. Hey, Pam.
Hi, Pam.
She lives about an hour away from me. Back to your book.
Yes.
What was I going to ask you? Oh, yes. I know that you work full-time. Mm-hmm. So, of course, like me, you cannot write as often as you'd like. How much writing do you get in a week? Do you write every day?
No. I mean, not that I don't want to. I find, okay, so my schedule is such normally that I only have to go into campus 2 or 3 days a week. And so then what I will do is, I mean, I love it when we have weather like this, like, anything above 75 or 80 degrees. My favorite thing to do is sit on my front porch and write. And I just feel like I'm home. And so what I've learned to do, and then of course I can't do that in the winter, but my sons get on the bus like around 8:15. And so I crowbar in 45 minutes of, to an hour of really intense writing. Now, what I've learned to do is to think about my writing.
Okay.
A lot before I actually sit down at the keyboard or sit down and put pen to paper. There's a lot that has gone through my mind. So I'm driving in the car because I have about a 45-minute commute to campus almost the entire time. So I'm sometimes just turn the radio off and just think about what I'm going to do, where I'm going to go with things, or laying in bed at night or something like that. Now, I do sometimes carve out time later at night, but a lot of my writing time is during the summer. So during the summer, I don't teach as much. And this summer, and I'm going to start giggling, like, is my first summer off in 24 years. Wow. So I don't have to teach for the first time in 24 years. So I plan on doing a lot of writing, and then a lot of what I haven't done enough of, I think, is trying to find ways to promote my writing and things like that. So, yeah.
To me, that's the hardest part. Of course, I say in the beginning when I first started writing that the book was the hardest part to write it. But once you finish the book, it's like, okay, now I need to market this thing.
Right.
And for me, that is the hardest part. I mean,
it is.
I love writing. It's not just for me, work. It's an enjoyment. I love to write. But marketing it is really, really hard. It's tough.
It's not something that, like, if you're a writer, that's not really what you're geared to. And if you're not writing, you think that you're doing something wrong, because that's it. If I find like this much time, I'm like, I should be writing. Like, that's what I should be doing. I shouldn't be sending out query letters, right? Or I shouldn't be, trying to find out what some agent's favorite favorite dessert is, so I can send. I
shouldn't be scrolling on Facebook. Right.
So No, that is hard, but I mean, my guess is that obviously you've learned. I mean, it's part of it. I mean, you have to have your voice, and then you have to project it.
Yeah,
So,
because there's a million books. I mean, millions of books on Amazon, and you have to, stand out and get people to know about you and let them know where you are. And social media is a big part of that.
it is.
And it's not just Facebook. There's TikTok, there's Instagram, there's Twitter. I'm not on all of them. I just can't be on all of them. I have a few favorites that I like, but Facebook for me is the main place where readers know where to find me. I have the group and I'm there all the time, not all the time, but in the evenings. And that is where my connection is on Facebook. I do have an Instagram account. I do have a TikTok account, but it's not where I focus. I just can't be in all these places that.
Right. I mean, you'd have to have an army of people doing all that. I think you're wise. I mean, my thought is, and that's something I know I need to get better at. But if you have a couple of outlets that you do well, I think that's better than kind of spreading yourself too thin.
Exactly.
And not really, because like your personal website and your Facebook site, you get a good idea of who you are as a writer. And I mean, if you can duplicate that and send that everywhere, fine. But I don't think most people, especially if, as you said, if writing is not your full-time job yet, it's really difficult to do.
It really is. I have a website, but for me, the website is just a portal where people can go and find out more about me, find out where my books are, but it's not something I have that's really fancy or over the top.
Right.
Because I tell myself, yes, I have a website. People can go there, see where my books are, just like on Amazon. But it's not a place that people are going to constantly visit. I mean, I have a ton of authors that I love, but how often do I go to their website? Not very often.
Right.
So I don't spend a lot of time on my website. I post my books, I put my history, I put the links to Amazon, but it's not a place that I'm over the top indulged in. Right. Because me as a reader, I know for myself, I don't go to my favorite author's websites all the time. If I'm having a giveaway or something special going on, yes, it'll be on the website. But a lot of that I post on Facebook, which is where to me, that is my center. That is where I meet with my readers. But yeah, I agree with you. Marketing is not easy. But I'm glad you're here talking about your book. This is marketing for you.
This is fun. This is like one of the best parts of my day. So
good. I'm glad you're having a good time. The other thing I wanted to ask you too is when you're not teaching. Okay, no, let's do this one first. You said you're not going to be working this summer. I mean, you're going to have a summer off. Are you going to be traveling at all, or just writing?
Well, I'll travel a little bit. I don't have plans to go too far, though. There are some things I might want to do, so I might do a little bit of traveling. Yeah, but yeah, a lot of writing. I plan on having a lot of mornings. And like I said, well, I mean, my two sons. So I mean, it's not like just like Daddy's going to go right. You guys just kind of. I mean, it's, riding bikes and going to the pool and things like that. So I mean, I have plenty of those types of things to do, as long with household duties and all that other stuff. But yeah.
Well, I hope you get a lot of writing done this summer. I do.
Oh, I do too. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it should be fun. When you're not writing and you're not teaching and you're not working, what hobbies do you have other than reading and writing?
I mean, I don't know if
is there any time left in the day?
No, actually, I sleep very little. But I mean, I guess I try to exercise. Like I said, I have two sons, and I want to try to keep up with them. So. Yeah, I mean they're they're fantastic. Ethan and Nathan are fantastic, and I'll exercise and stuff so I can and some of it I'll do with I'll bike ride and things like that, and we'll go to the pool and things. But I think that's about it. I'm just trying to be around and be able to do things with them. But yeah, I'd say probably that's about it. I mean, I do like to go places and visit people and things like that. But I kind of like to make that spontaneous, though. Sometimes I'm just kind of like, oh, I think I'll go here, and then we'll go. So
that's more fun.
It is
planning a trip. I love doing spontaneous trips. Me and my husband will go for road trips and just go for a drive. We like
you do motorcycles, right?
We do quads, ATVs.
Oh, okay, cool.
He also has a Harley Davidson, and we ride that too. But mine is the quad. We live up in the mountains, and we
Okay.
have trails everywhere. And that's what I did on Mother's Day. He said, "What do you want to do on Mother's Day?" I said, "Ride the quad." You know?
Right.
You know. But
I did get my first dog recently. I mean, I never had really pets as a child. Yeah, so I should say I've got I've got like a 95-pound, 11-month-old giant schnauzer,
those are
Luna.
cool dogs.
Yeah. Oh, she's fantastic. I mean, and I'm allergic, so but I go and get shots, and then she doesn't shed very much. They're hypoallergenic. Giant schnauzers are hypoallergenic dogs. But I usually, like during the winter, I would have to walk her like 4 or 5 miles a day because I'm the dumbest man alive. What happened was my son's been wanting a dog forever, so I was like, okay, fine. You know, but I had ordered couches because my couch was like 14 or 15 years old, and my back was starting to like. So I had the couch. It takes COVID, right? It takes like 9 months to get the couch.
Oh, right.
We find out the giant schnauzer puppies are available. Okay, great. The day after we get the puppy, my couch has arrived. So I had to walk her.
And the puppy.
I had to walk her like 4 or 5 miles a day during the winter. So that's my exercise, right? I walk her 4 or 5 miles a day.
She's probably not allowed on the brand new couch, huh?
She's not. I have to say, I'm really stunned. She sometimes will sneak up there, and it's like the one thing in the house she hasn't chewed on. And I want to knock it on the table here because she has chewed everything else. I mean, she'll. I mean, they have like 550 pounds of bite force, so I mean, she could just crush it.
Lord,
I'm so stupid, but it's okay.
Oh, I love dogs. We have two. We have a Brittany and a Jack Russell, and they're both hyper. And then my son bought my grandkids, a Saint Bernard for Christmas.
Yeah.
And this thing is like half grown and it's already huge.
Yeah, those are the
Yeah, he got the dog.
They're great big.
Yeah, he got the dog its own couch because he was sick and tired of it taking up the whole couch.
we did that too. We got her like a little. We just got like a couch for her, like, and then my sons will go sit on it, and I'm just like, "What are you doing? Like it's so comfortable." I'm like,
"They like it better than the new couch."
Yeah.
What's her name again? The dog?
Luna.
Luna, cute name.
Yeah, I named her, and because we were driving up to get her, and I'm like, my one son likes the moon, and so I did, and now we've found about 5 or 6 other dogs that are named that too. But I was first.
You're first. Yeah, you were first.
I'm an influencer. What can I say? I'm an influencer. You know what I mean?
The interaction on your title, you were first with that one too. So hey.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. I was like, maybe people will search that and then they'll come up with my book. But the sales haven't quite come out that way, but maybe we'll see.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. I'm looking at the comments again. Do you have any questions for Marcus? Go ahead and put them in the comments. Marcus, what authors do you read? Do you read what you write? Do you read comedy, satire?
I knew you were going to ask me this question. And I'm so lame about. I don't have I mean, with everything else that I'm doing, I don't have a ton of time. I will occasionally go back and reread classics and stuff like that. And I am reading a couple of Alan's books because my son's kind of getting to be where the age that he would want to. I mean, they would be appropriate for him and stuff. But I read my students' writing quite a bit.
Okay.
I mean, I'm glorious, but I grade a lot of papers. But I learn a lot from them. And some of my students' stories I have made into, like, there was one student who told me a story that I made it into a screenplay. Because I wrote screenplays for about 10 years before I wrote a really, really horrible novel. It's not even a novel. It was just a stream of consciousness crappy thing. I mean, it was just this amorphous plot. I don't even call it like a work. But so I wrote it and I was like, man, that sucked. And so then I decided to try screenplays, and I did that for about 10 years. I'm still waiting to be discovered by Hollywood.
Hey, it might happen. It might happen.
But I'm sorry, what?
It might happen.
It could. I definitely wrote some. I mean, I did pretty well in some international competitions. I mean, I was up against 2, 3, sometimes 8,000 other screenplays, and I would make top top 10% in.
Oh wow! So what course
I
you
mean,
did?
I don't think again, I'm always the bridesmaid. I didn't win any of them, but I came in like enough to where I would talk to a producer, and they would tell me how they didn't think my story would, or my movie would sell well in China, which I was like, I kind of didn't write it for that audience, but so yeah, but I a couple of their ideas I have used either in my writing of novels or in screenplays and things like that. But it also enables me to connect with them, because I think it's important for them to know that I read their writing, and I do. And some of it is I have them write stories about a challenge that they have overcome in their life, and part of that is I want them to realize that they're powerful and that they have that they're resourceful and that they can accomplish things. And also, because I teach teachers, I want them to carry that over to their students. I want them to let their students use their voices and listen to them and realize the importance of that. That when I give them feedback, when I give them back the papers, they know that I've read. I've paid a lot of attention to that. So I think that's very important. That relationship is very important. So.
Wow. So you don't read a lot of author books? I mean, like fiction or other books, mainly just your students' work?
Mainly, like I said, occasionally I'll grab a classic or something like that I haven't read in a while.
Have any favorite authors? If you have a chance to read, do you have some favorite authors?
Wow. I mean, well, growing up, I remember like the first book I read that like made me cry was like Charlotte's Web. I remember like I read that, and I think I read it 3 times. I think I cried every time or something like that. And I was like, is this supposed to be happening? I guess it was pretty cool. I mean, I liked kind of like, Mary Shelley, and I was an English major in college, and I love Samuel Clemens and things like that. And Kate Chauvin, and I read a lot of the classics. But my problem, and this is going to sound like and by the way, my computer is right now resting on a copy of the Riverside Shakespeare, so that the shot is better. So see, I use literature in different ways. But my problem is that if I read too much, I mean, I will occasionally read some things, but if I read too much, what will happen is I will start to copy the style of the writer that I noticed this kind of when I first started, because I read, like, it was like Christmas time, and I read like A Christmas Carol, right? So I read, just, because it's the season. And then I found myself writing very kind of this verbose, and I'm like, no, I can't do that. Like, I've got to, because that was the problem with that first crappy novel, like I said, that I wrote, is it was awful. I mean, it was all over the place. And the one great thing that I learned from screenwriting, 2 great things I would say, is the importance of character. That character drives plot. And I didn't have a strong sense of that beforehand. So I in no way regret the fact that Hollywood has yet to discover me. Okay, I have some regrets about that, but then the other thing is focus, like focus on details. And I translate this to my students. I say, you want to describe something because it's important to be described. You don't want to just kind of spend verbiage on things that aren't important. And so I want to focus on that. So it took me a while to kind of get my own style and get my own voice, and I'm afraid of losing it. So if I read too much of somebody else, like that first novel, I probably read like 50 Shades or something like that, and then I had the over-sizzled novel or whatever. And yeah, it was super heated, and yeah, I mean.
Well, they say write every day to keep your style, to keep your writing style, to write every day. Yeah.
I'm finding myself trying to make I'm getting more religious about that. I mean, where I will, even if I only have to carve out, because I've actually watched a lot of your interviews, and I definitely have been at the point where I'm like, I need to write 1,000 words today. I need to write 500 words today, and things like that. And I think that's good. I mean, I think that helps drive. And I do some of that. I'm sure I'll do that this summer.
Yeah, it's a motivation for me. And if I don't achieve it, I feel guilty, and I get so mad at myself.
Don't do that. I mean, I
get irritated. I get irritated.
I'm sure, but there's a part of me too that thinks that sometimes you've got to tap the brakes and say, if I'm not writing that, is there a reason? Is there a reason, like maybe this kind of way? it depends on if you're like a planner or a plotter. If you have it planned out and you're not doing it, I guess you can be more.
I don't plan nothing. I tried and I just don't do it anymore.
Well, see, then I think that sometimes, I mean, this is my opinion. I'm probably wrong, but I think that sometimes you don't make the headway that you're hoping to because you might want to explore other avenues with a character or with plot or something like that. So I feel the same way. I'll be honest with you. Like I plan on writing 1,000 words. I got 400 words, and then you just kind of kick yourself. And I lay in bed. I'm like, I should try to just stay up till like 3 a.m. and write this, but I'm like, I'm exhausted, so it's going to suck. Right. So I don't want to do that. Yeah. But then I think sometimes it might be because I ought to think of a different possibility. So I try to stay positive that way because I don't want to beat myself up too much. So. And
sometimes too, if I know I'm not going to, I mean, I try a lot of times to sit down and want to reach that $1,000 in one sitting. And 80% of the time, it's not going to happen. So I break it up. I might write 200 words in the morning before I leave the house, and then come home and write another 300. And then I tell myself, okay, I'm not going to bed till I've written 500 more.
Yeah, right. At
least it's only half.
If you break it up, that's fine. Katie ask, I'm sorry, Gabe.
No, go ahead.
Well, Katie asked a question like, "What do I prefer, writing screenplays or novels?"
Good question.
I prefer writing. I like writing screenplays. If someone would ever turn them into a movie, damn it.
Really?
They should. But Hollywood is just the thing I don't like about it is it's so structured. I mean, there's so many rules, and I don't want to criticize Hollywood. Okay, I do want to criticize Hollywood. I think there's so much of it that's formulaic. I think now that that was several years back. So now that there are other opportunities for these other networks, and streaming services, that may have changed somewhat. So I'll try to be positive about that. But again, I like screenplays in that it made me a more disciplined writer, more focused. But I think that writing novels is much more freeing. And I mean, I could do both. I don't dislike screenplays, but when I started writing novels again, I felt pretty good about it.
Were you on deadlines when you wrote screenplays? Did you have a lot of deadlines?
I wish I would have been, but no. I'm seeing that none of them sold. No, like, oh, geez, I have to get this in so it doesn't sell. But what I did is I did have deadlines for these contests and stuff like that because it's kind of a big deal. I mean, there's like a season and you have to get them in before like a certain deadline, and that in that sense I did, and that was kind of good for me. I mean, it helped push me to write under pressure.
Right. Now, as far as you're writing today with your books, do you have deadlines for those? Like you have a sequel coming out or book 2? Is there a deadline?
Well, I will once I kind of create a schedule. So what we do is we'll work with the printer and they'll say kind of here's, we have X number of projects that are kind of in the queue. And so here's where your project will likely fall. And so then by that point, I will have to make sure that I get, the cover art's exactly what I want. And I have the blurb on the back and things like that I want, and that I've made all the changes that I want to. And then the thing I need to get better at, and this is where I kind of, I was new to it, but I want to start to send out some of my writing to get reviewed. So like before when I wrote the Pop Top Insurrection, when I wrote the Pop Top Insurrection, I wrote it and then I went and got reviews, and I got some pretty darn good reviews, including from the Midwest Book Review, which I think gave me a very nice review. So I was pleased with that, but I thought, I should have done it where I had the review, then the book comes out, right? And I just didn't know the process.
You're on Facebook. You should open up a review group, make it private, and invite people into your group to read your book and then leave reviews. I have one, and it helps a lot.
I love that idea, and I'm going to do it. So thank you.
There you go. You are welcome. But I have readers that they stay in the group, and they're there locked in, and they don't have to read every book. But when I have a book coming out, they're the first I ask, do you want to review this book? If you're busy this time around, doesn't matter. There'll be other books coming, hopefully. But they're there and they're great. They read my books, they give honest reviews, and then when my book comes out on launch day, it already has reviews because they leave it on the day it's launched.
Right.
So,
I love that idea. Yeah.
And you're more than welcome to come into the group. You're a member of my group, and just put a post up, say you've opened up your review group. I need readers, and see how many you get from my group. You're more than welcome to do that. And they're dedicated to you. They're great readers. They give you great reviews. A few of them here in my review team. So,
all right,
that's one way you can get reviews.
I will take you up on that.
Yeah, do it. Invite me. I can do it. I'll be your reviewer.
Oh, that'd be great. All right. Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun. I mean, the hour is up. It goes by so quickly, but you're very entertaining. I like your sense of humor. Your book sounds like a good read. But before we sign off, I do want to talk about the giveaway. You're very generous to do a giveaway. I'm going to hand it over to you and let the readers know what you're giving away.
Oh, I didn't know. What do people normally give away? I mean, I don't know.
Paperbacks are always good. You can't go, but I will recommend that it's US only. If you have a winner that's overseas, you have to give them an ebook.
I thought you.
So expensive.
Yeah. So I thought I was just giving away. So normally they give away a book, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Do you give away more than one book?
That's entirely up to you. I'm not going to tell you how many books to give away. Most give away, one. It's up to you. It's you. What you want to do?
I don't know. I've had a lot of fun. I'll give away 3 books. How about that?
Wow, 3 paperbacks signed by you?
Sure.
That's awesome. All right, I'm going to write this down. Now, we have another thing we can do. We can either pick 3 winners right now off the screen, or after the live, we go ahead and pick the winners, and I can tag you. It's entirely up to you. If you want to scroll down and pick 3 winners, you're more than welcome to do that.
Oh God, now I feel pressure.
You I can pick it for you after the live.
You told me about before. See the funny guy sweat. Let's do it privately, because you may have people here that have like won recently or something like that, and I don't want people. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. No problem. What I'm going to do is, I usually, if I'm picking the winners, I'm going to pick them around 8:00 my time. I'm in California because I have dogs to feed and a husband to feed. But I will tag you because you are in my group, so I can tag you once the winners are chosen.
Okay.
And then I will have them reach out to you through Messenger. Will that work? To give you.
Yeah, Facebook Messenger, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll do that, and they'll just send you their address, and that's very generous of you. 3 signed paperbacks by Marcus. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I do want to mention your book. I know it's on Amazon. Where else can people find your book?
Well, the paperback is available through my website, which is marcusherzberg.com.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I sent you the link.
Yeah, the link is on the bio and the feed for the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's on Kindle. Is it on Barnes and Noble?
No.
Okay,
but
so
it is on Amazon, like KDP, like, so you can read it for free if you're.
Oh, Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah, Kindle Unlimited. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All my books are in Kindle Unlimited. I love Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to do my regular giveaway also, which many of you know is a $5 Amazon gift card. And the way you can be entered into that drawing is to go to my author page and share this video. Share it to your book group, share it to your personal page, share it to your friends. Tag me when you share it so I know that you shared it. And anyone that shares the video, you can share it as many times as you want, by the way. You are in the drawing for $5. Marcus, this has been great. Thank you so much. I'm going to hand it over to you for the last words. And readers, thank you so much for joining us as usual. Marcus, take it away.
First, Tina, I want to thank you very much for having me. This has been really a lot of fun. I'm just kind of a lonely man, and to talk. No, sorry. But I like interacting with readers, and it's been hard to do, I think, over the last several years. So I think this is great. And I want to thank everybody who is here, and then everyone who maybe couldn't be here, but will check out, because I've actually watched many of your interviews on
Thank
YouTube.
you so much.
Yeah,
I hope you watch more.
I will. But I really appreciate everybody spending the time. And if you're able to read the book, I encourage you to read the book. And I will, hope that you enjoy it. You have more fun reading it than I had writing it, even. So.
Oh yeah, and when your next book comes out, reach out to me and we'll get you on again.
Oh, all right.
Too. Definitely.
All right. Well, I'm going to be editing tonight then, so I'll make sure.
All right, sounds good. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and I will be announcing the winners around 8 o'clock tonight. Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Thank you, Tina.